It's 2021, and we are all still pivoting. Many pivots we've discussed in this series have resulted from growth, or fear, and even pushing boundaries. Pivots can also come from the dedication to helping others and to have a relentless desire to give. In this episode, we'll dive deeper into this and hopefully get more inspired to helping others.
So welcome. We are back again. It's 2021, but the world is still topsy-turvy, and we're talking to John Hinchliffe. John is an internationally recognized digital learning expert. He's 10 years in the industry. And this year, he won the Learning Professional of the Year Silver Award at the LPI Learning Awards. So welcome, John.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for having me.
So John, let's just jump in. I didn't know you, or I didn't hear about your name until very recently. And then suddenly you were everywhere. And what I'd love to know, John, is what happened before? Like, what were some of your struggles? What was the blood, sweat, and tears, if there was, in you being here today where you're at?
Wow, that's quite a question. You know, I'm incredibly blessed with how things are at the moment for me, and I'm very thankful for the attention and people giving me their attention. I mean, goodness, my LinkedIn is in the top 1% of the industry, which seems incredible to me. Thousands of people view my profile every month. But I think if we go really honest, for me, it's been a struggle from a very young age and really a battle to be something. Because for me, it's been a very long road. I mean, when I take it even back to when I was a kid, I was very quiet. You know, I didn't really speak. I didn't have any friends. I came from a very poor family. And so growing up was very tough. And surprisingly, you know, I work in the learning education industry. Education for me was very difficult. I had an overactive imagination. And so I was written off by teachers. And so for me, it's been a struggle from a very young age. And I started in banking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to find that it was a toxic environment. It just didn't resonate with me. But I found that talking to people was something that I loved doing. And so I became a face-to-face trainer. And then I started into kind of seeing how different presentations were done. And I started seeing Steve Jobs do his presentations. And it completely changed the game for me because I started seeing animations, how you could be more than just words. And so that was the kind of the beginning of my love for digital learning. And so I then started honing my craft on the evenings and weekends. And that was really a big thing, was trying to get every morsel of information. Joined virtual college as a digital learning specialist there, progressed to team leader, progressed to manager, then becoming on the board of directors voluntarily for the e-learning network. At the same time, I was volunteering at a center for kids with learning disabilities. At the same time, I was a school governor. So just really taking it as much as life has to offer and doing as many things as possible.
The word that popped in my head as I was hearing you explain was relentless.
Yeah.
The reason why I asked you that, John, was because a lot of times we see someone successful and we make assumptions that it was easy, or they can help, or they were well connected. So of course it was easy for them, and it's going to be hard for us. And I want to break that limitation, that barrier that we all put on ourselves, because when you put your mind to something, you can do amazing things. And look at what you've done. In the middle of COVID, when everyone was crawling into their shells and just like hunkering down, you were reaching out in ways that a lot of people might have wanted to, but didn't have the courage to start. Because, you know, a lot of times we think, well, who's going to listen? Who's going to believe that I'm out here genuinely to help? But you did, and it's amazing. So I think on behalf of a lot of people out there, I would say thank you for taking that opportunity, doing something really meaningful with it.
Thanks. It does mean a lot. And you know, it's a lot of people do think, you know, nobody will listen to me. If I say something, nobody's going to take notice. Nobody's going to get involved. I moved out to the United Arab Emirates. When I got out there, I started inquiring with people, where are the meetup groups? Where are the people that I can connect with? And every single one you had to pay for, which didn't make sense to me. It felt dirty. I put out a post and said, look, if you are in the UAE, you're in Dubai, you want to meet people, I will be at this bar and it's free. I will drive an hour and a half. I will pay to stay at a hotel so that I'm there. But if you want to meet people, I will be there.
Wow.
And I did it. Drove an hour and a half. And driving in the UAE is scary. So an hour and a half, near death, got there. And 6 people turned up because people took a chance because they didn't know, is it real? Is he a charlatan? Or is he actually a genuinely nice guy?
Yes.
And so I just gave as much value as I could to those 6 people. Then word got out. 17 people came to the next one. Next one, 30 people. And then it really is about how that then has developed into the community I built now when COVID hit. Because it wasn't just about helping people, in this small space. It's how can we do it globally? Yeah. So I was doing meetups in the evenings, but also early in the morning.
Yes.
Never any payment. Yes. I mean, goodness, I look at over the year of doing everything, the face-to-face meetups, the Zoom, I've probably spent £1,000 helping people meet other people with no expectation.
Yes.
Apart from, is this going to help people? Yes. And it's people coming back and saying, this has helped my mental health. This has helped me find a job. I made a course in the background on my weekends so that people could get insight into instructional design, the stuff from my brain, so that if somebody came to me and they said, look, I'm new to this, I'm a teacher, I'm coming to instructional design, I don't know what to do. Perfect, here's a course.
Wow.
It is that relentless desire to give.
Yes, and I
think
love that, the relentless desire to give.
If you do it from the right place, yes, then you're also front of mind for people.
Yes.
And this is the thing for me at the moment, with my content, with the stuff on LinkedIn, it's not sales pitches. It's not a sneaky underhand. It's giving. But then in turn, the amount of people that reach out, yes, and just say, look, could we talk? Could you just give me some advice on this? And so it's like, so-and-so told me about your event. So-and-so mentioned you.
Here. What I'd love to know is, which of the pivots that you made scared you the most?
Goodness, there's been some tricky ones. I think the scariest was probably moving to Japan to be a teacher. So this was after university. I was doing temping jobs. And my sister, who lives around the world, she's a teacher. And so she said to me, look, I got you a job interview for a company in Japan. They're doing the interviews in London. Go there on Tuesday, have the interview. If they like you, they'll ship you over to Japan. Did the interview, thought I did horrific. I honestly thought it was one of the worst interviews I've ever done. And they offered me the job. I had no experience of living abroad. I didn't speak any Japanese. I didn't read any Japanese. So I joined the company. The company at the time was being sued by the government. We found out. Then we found out some really weird, interesting stuff, I believe to do with the Japanese mafia was involved. Then they didn't pay our wages. Then they didn't pay our rent. So we got kicked out of our apartments. And then I got escorted by the police back to the airport. 3 months. 3 of the craziest months. But wow. It was...
Sounds like a movie.
It was. It really was. It was just an incredibly wild time. Wow. Not being able to really communicate with anybody. But I think when we think about what do you take away from those things? It's doing your research. Always be prepared.
So did that, because that was early on for you, right? So yeah. Did that scare you off from other pivots or?
Well, I mean, for the next few years, I was pretty safe. I was focused on stability. but there was always something more to me. I always wanted to do something more. And I think that's another thing, for people who are actually listening to this is think, what are the skills that you have? What are the skills you want to develop? What would make you happy?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And be realistic about that. But I mean, the world is an incredible place whereby you can, become YouTube famous just using your phone. Kids are getting paid millions of pounds to play games. We're in an incredible time right now for where your personal life can become your life, your business life. And so
I
it's,
really feel like we've moved into an age of human potential
yes,
as opposed to the industrial age,
exactly.
So it's brilliant time. I know it's scary, and anytime there's huge shift, there's huge opportunities. There's also huge fear. So it's about breaking through that. Or sometimes what I like to do is ignore the fear and do something anyways. You just got one life. You should go crazy. You should be silly every day. You should do crazy things, not harmful things, but just, don't be so scared.
Just let's say for 2021, if you focus on how many people can I positively impact, that would be an incredible year.
That's a brilliant takeaway for this video.
Exactly.
No, this is great. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I love your cute little dog there. He's so sweet. He comes and pops in every once in a while to check in to see what's going on.
At this moment in time, Chester the dog is watching intensely as to what on earth is going on. That's life.
Yeah. And he doesn't know how famous he's probably become, right?
You know what? He is actually LinkedIn famous now. He got LinkedIn famous.
Amazing. Thank you so much, John. This has been an amazing conversation. I appreciate your insights, your openness in sharing your own stories, and just some of the wonderful stuff that you've been doing. And how hard sometimes it's been that people may not have seen that, the blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into just being relentless.
Wonderful. Thank you ever so much for having me.